Showtime! The Capital G show starts right now.
What's up YouTube? Capital G here, talking about Solemn Advice in this video. You guys probably saw Asian Eyes White Dragon video that he posted last night, just like I did. If you didn't, I'll have the link below. That's what really brought this card to my attention. It's a new card coming out of the OCG set Next Challengers, which I believe comes after the Duelist Advent, so it'll be a little while before we see this card. And as the name suggests, it's a counter trap in the Solemn family. Here's the effect. While you control no other set cards in your spell or trap zone, when a monster would be summoned or a spell or trap card or monster effect activated, pay 3,000 life points, negate the summon or activation, and if you do, destroy that card. It also has the S in parentheses around monsters, so if multiple monsters would be summoned at the same time, you can basically negate that too, i.e. like a pendulum summon or something like that. So basically, it's Solemn Judgment and Solemn Warning combined into one card for a fee of 3,000 life points. When I read this, I was like, okay, the effect is clearly mind fucking blowing, because there really isn't anything short of super polymerization or spiritualism that Solemn Advice can't stop. Now, I initially heard a lot of people saying that they thought 3,000 life points was too high of a price to pay, but I mean, come on, people, look at the fucking effect. Like, I will gladly pay that, considering it covers everything that my opponent wants to do at any time they want to do it. I mean, especially in the early game, and that's without even taking into consideration that people just seem to fucking love to play Upstart Goblin. I mean, early game 5,000 life points to negate any action my opponent's gonna do, okay, I'll take that to the bank all day. Now, obviously, they had to build some sort of drawback, otherwise I would just main deck 2 of these without even thinking about it, to be honest. And it's that you can't control any other set, spell, or traps when you activate this card. However, after about maybe 6 minutes of thinking, you can circumvent that pretty easily, especially in a chain. For example, let's say you control 2 back row, right? Your opponent goes, summon, geared your arsenal. Okay, you activate Bottomless Trap Hole, they wiretap. You can just simply use Solemn Advice right there, and Bottomless Trap Hole is now face up on the field, so your activation is legal. There you go. So yeah, they did put a legitimate drawback in there, or an activation requirement, but just in general, it doesn't seem like it's that difficult to get around, especially if you only play one card alongside of it, and if that card is chainable, like Mystical Space Typhoon or Compulse Evac Device, I mean, it becomes kind of like automatic at this point. Now, I couldn't recommend this card in artifacts for like obvious reasons, but it seems really good in a bunch of other decks, and if you think that Soul Charge is going to get limited or banned expectably, as most of us do, sometime in the TCG's future, then I think that this card's playability goes even higher. And since we're still like 2 sets away, I think the chances are they're pretty good that Soul Charge is either going to be at 1 or might not be a thing by the time that this comes around. Now, I know that a lot of people were saying they think that Warning is going to get banned. I think that it's actually more likely that Solemn Judgment in the OCG is going to get banned, and that we could be living with Warning plus this card for at least a couple of formats. Because when you really think about it, Konami is very reactionary. I mean, they don't usually go out and just ban a card because they're releasing a similar card in a new set, and they predict that there could be some conflict running both of them. That rarely ever happens in the game. The last thing that I want to talk about is the card art on Solemn Advice. I think that it is awesome, and I like the storyline between the girl on the forbidden items and Old Solemn guy, as I'm just going to call him. And Advice, I would assume that the story kind of goes before Warning and then obviously before Judgment, which is probably the final card in the story. And it looks like he's telling her just in general, to stay away from these items. And it's kind of cool to see throughout the years they've artificially like built this story around these 2 characters. I mean, I hope eventually we get like monster forms of them, but it's really cool. It's like, he's just giving her general advice, like, hey, you know what, just, stay away from my shit. And then he, she spills on, he's like, look, bitch, fall back. And then, he catches her in the act, and he's like, all right, gonna have to just fucking, God's wrath on this motherfucker. So let me know what you guys think. I think that this card is fantastic. I think that I would say I'm probably going to run 1 of, definitely without even thinking. I don't know if I would consider running 2, just because 6,000 life points. I got to find a way to get some life points back before I make that commitment. Thank you guys for watching, as always.